If you've been waking up tired, stiff, or just not feeling like yourself lately, this might explain more than you think. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could change the way you look at your morning routine. And before we go further, drop your age and country in the comments. I want to know exactly who I'm speaking to and who this guidance is helping. Many adults over 60 begin to notice subtle shifts, morning stiffness that wasn't there before, skin that feels thinner, recovery after a simple walk that takes longer than it used to. These changes often arrive quietly, almost unnoticed at first. And here's the important truth. They are common parts of aging. They are not personal failures. One major reason behind these shifts involves collagen. Collagen is a structural protein that acts like internal scaffolding. It forms a large portion of connective tissues, including tendons, ligaments, cartilage, and parts of the skin and gut lining. When we're younger, the body produces collagen efficiently. Over time, that production gradually slows down. Educational material from Harvard Health and Mayo Clinic explains that aging naturally affects protein synthesis and tissue elasticity. This is biology, not weakness. Collagen itself is built from amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Imagine amino acids as bricks, and collagen as the sturdy framework constructed from those bricks. As we age, the construction crew inside the body doesn't work as quickly as it once did. According to guidance from the National Institutes of Health, adequate protein intake becomes increasingly important for older adults to help maintain muscle mass and tissue structure. The body simply becomes less efficient at using small amounts of protein, a process sometimes described as anabolic resistance. This is where collagen powder enters the conversation. It is not a medication. It does not treat or cure disease. But for some individuals, it serves as a convenient way to increase daily protein intake. Most collagen supplements are derived from animal sources and processed into small peptides that dissolve easily in liquids, including coffee. Now, coffee becomes relevant not because caffeine magically transforms collagen, but because habits matter. Institutions like Cleveland Clinic consistently highlight that consistency in daily routines improves adherence to nutritional habits. If someone already drinks coffee every morning, adding collagen to that existing routine can be easier than remembering to take a separate supplement later in the day. The value is not in dramatic overnight change. It is in steady repetition. At the same time, it's critical to stay realistic. The World Health Organization emphasizes that older adults benefit most from varied diets, rich in whole foods, adequate protein, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. Collagen supplementation is not a replacement for balanced nutrition. It is one small addition within a much larger framework. Research indexed in PubMed has explored collagen in relation to skin elasticity, joint comfort, and muscle support. Findings exist, but they are often modest and vary from person to person. This means expectations should center on supportive nutrition, not transformation. Another key factor is lifestyle context. Sleep quality, physical activity, hydration, and stress levels all influence how effectively the body uses protein. Resistance exercises, even light ones, signal muscles to utilize available amino acids more efficiently. Public health agencies, including the World Health Organization, consistently recommend strength and balance training for older adults. Without movement, even adequate protein intake may not translate into noticeable improvements. Safety also matters. Collagen is generally considered safe for many individuals, but people with allergies, kidney concerns, or chronic conditions should consult a healthcare professional before adding supplements. Both the Mayo Clinic and the NHS encourage personalized medical advice when introducing new dietary changes, especially for older adults taking medications. So, when we step back, collagen powder in coffee represents something simple, a convenient lifestyle choice aimed at supporting daily protein intake. The broader scientific message from NIH, Harvard Health, WHO, Cleveland Clinic, and PubMed is clear. Aging bodies benefit from adequate protein, consistent movement, balanced nutrition, good sleep, and stress management. The powder itself is just one small piece of a much larger picture, and understanding that bigger picture is where the real story begins. The powder itself is just one small piece of a much larger picture, and understanding that bigger picture is where the real story begins. Think of collagen like the padding inside a mattress. When that padding is thick and well supported, movement feels smooth and resilient. But as the years pass, that padding gradually compresses. You may not notice it overnight, but over time, the difference becomes clear. Joints feel stiffer. Recovery after activity slows down. Skin texture subtly changes. These shifts are not sudden breakdowns. They are gradual, biological adjustments. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. It forms a major component of connective tissues including cartilage, tendons, ligaments, and skin. From a biological standpoint, collagen is built from amino acids such as glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. These act as structural building blocks that give tissues strength and flexibility. According to educational resources from the National Institutes of Health, protein metabolism changes with age. Muscle protein synthesis becomes less efficient, meaning the body does not respond as strongly to small amounts of protein as it once did. This phenomenon, often described as anabolic resistance, makes consistent intake more relevant in later decades of life. When collagen powder is added to hot coffee, something practical happens. The heat and liquid help dissolve it into smaller peptides. These peptides are easier to digest and absorb in the small intestine. Once absorbed, the amino acids enter the bloodstream and are distributed according to the body's needs. And this is important. The body does not send collagen directly to your knees or your skin like a delivery package. It uses the amino acids as raw materials wherever repair or maintenance is required. Research summaries available through PubMed discuss how collagen peptides may support connective tissue structure when paired with adequate nutrition and physical activity. Results vary between individuals, which is why expectations should be realistic and long-term rather than immediate. Medical education sources such as Cleveland Clinic emphasize that protein plays a critical role in maintaining muscle mass, particularly in older adults. Muscles and connective tissues function together, much like cables and anchors in a suspension bridge. Muscles generate force. Tendons and ligaments stabilize and transfer that force. If either side weakens, mobility and balance can feel compromised. This is why the World Health Organization recommends regular strength and balance activities for older adults. Protein intake, including collagen, works best when paired with movement. Without mechanical stimulation from walking, resistance exercises, or even light bodyweight movements, the body has less incentive to direct amino acids toward rebuilding tissue. Consistency is another factor many people overlook. Publications from Harvard Health frequently remind readers that nutritional benefits accumulate gradually. Tissue turnover in skin and connective structures occurs over weeks and months, not days. Expecting dramatic change after a few servings of collagen misunderstands how the body remodels itself. This is where coffee becomes strategically useful. Morning routines tend to be stable. Behavioral research consistently shows that attaching a new habit to an existing one increases adherence. Adding collagen to a daily cup of coffee integrates protein into a pattern that is already established. However, Relying solely on collagen while neglecting whole food protein sources would be a mistake. Foods like eggs, yogurt, legumes, poultry, and fish provide a broader amino acid profile along with vitamins and minerals that support metabolic function. Collagen can complement these foods, but it should not replace them. When you zoom out, the message becomes clear. Collagen powder in coffee is not about chasing quick fixes. It is about supporting the body's structural framework in a practical, consistent way. Aging changes how efficiently we build and repair tissues. Adequate protein, paired with movement and steady routines, helps respond to those changes. And once we understand how connective tissue and muscle interact, we can begin to see why independence later in life depends on much more than a single scoop in a cup. And once we understand how connective tissue and muscle interact, we can begin to see why independence later in life depends on much more than a single scoop in a cup. For adults over 60, maintaining independence is not just a goal, it is a priority that shapes daily life. Independence is closely tied to strength, balance, and the integrity of connective tissue. When these systems function well together, simple tasks like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or rising from a chair feel manageable. When they decline, everyday movements can begin to feel uncertain. Muscles and connective tissues operate like a suspension bridge. Muscles act as the cables that generate movement. Tendons and ligaments serve as the anchors that stabilize and transfer force. If either weakens, the entire structure becomes less stable. Over time, aging naturally reduces muscle mass in a process known as sarcopenia. Educational resources from the National Institutes of Health explain that beginning as early as midlife, adults can gradually lose muscle mass and strength without regular resistance activity. The change is slow, but it is progressive. This decline affects more than appearance. It directly influences posture, coordination, and balance. The World Health Organization recommends that older adults engage in muscle strengthening and balance activities multiple times per week to reduce fall risk and maintain mobility. That recommendation highlights something critical. Nutrition alone is not enough. Protein intake, including supplemental sources such as collagen, provides amino acids that act as building blocks, but the body prioritizes repair and growth when there is demand. When muscles are challenged through light resistance exercises like wall push-ups, chair squats, step-ups, or resistance band movements, the body receives a signal to rebuild and strengthen. Without that stimulus, available amino acids may simply be used for maintenance rather than functional improvement. Collagen's role in this system relates primarily to connective tissues. Tendons connect muscle to bone. Ligaments connect bone to bone. These tissues rely heavily on collagen for tensile strength. Research reviews indexed in PubMed have explored how collagen peptides may support connective tissue health when combined with exercise programs. While outcomes vary and are not universal, some findings suggest that collagen supplementation alongside resistance training may contribute to improvements in joint comfort and functional performance. Notice the consistent pattern in the research. Supplementation is paired with structured movement. Institutions like Cleveland Clinic and Harvard Health both emphasize that protein needs often increase slightly with age because the body becomes less responsive to small doses. This makes steady and adequate intake throughout the day more important. Adding collagen to a morning beverage can help increase total daily protein intake, but it should complement complete protein sources from whole foods, not replace them. Foods such as eggs, fish, poultry, dairy, and legumes provide a broader amino acid spectrum along with nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, and B vitamins that support muscular and skeletal health. Collagen contributes specific amino acids, that are abundant in connective tissue, but it does not contain all essential amino acids in significant amounts. Balance matters. Another essential element in maintaining independence is balance training. According to public health data highlighted by the World Health Organization, falls represent a significant risk for older adults, often linked to reduced lower body strength and impaired coordination. Strength training enhances neuromuscular communication, the coordination between the brain and muscles. When collagen-derived amino acids are circulating in the bloodstream and resistance exercises stimulate tissue remodeling, the body may use those resources more effectively. However, expecting a supplement alone to prevent weakness is a misunderstanding. Sedentary behavior can counteract many nutritional efforts. Sleep and recovery also play vital roles. The National Institutes of Health notes that tissue repair processes are most active during restful sleep. Without adequate rest, muscle recovery and connective tissue maintenance may be less efficient. In practical terms, independence relies on a layered strategy. Consistent protein intake, optional collagen supplementation, regular strength and balance exercises, proper sleep, hydration, and nutrient-dense meals. Evidence referenced by NIH, WHO, Harvard Health, Cleveland Clinic, and PubMed repeatedly supports this integrated approach. Collagen can be a supportive element within that framework, but its real value emerges when it works in harmony with movement, recovery, and daily habits. And once we look at how the morning routine shapes the entire day, we begin to understand why coffee itself deserves a closer examination. And once we look at how the morning routine shapes the entire day, we begin to understand why coffee itself deserves a closer examination. For many people over 60, the day doesn't truly begin until that first cup is poured. Coffee is more than a beverage. It's a ritual. It signals alertness, focus, and readiness. The reason behind that familiar boost is caffeine, a compound that blocks adenosine receptors in the brain and temporarily reduces feelings of fatigue. The result is sharper attention and a sense of energy that feels almost immediate. Educational material from Cleveland Clinic and Harvard Health explains that caffeine stimulates the central nervous system and can increase the release of stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. For healthy adults, this response is generally safe. But for older individuals, especially those with inconsistent sleep or low hydration, the stimulation can feel stronger or less stable. Here is where the conversation becomes more nuanced. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach can sometimes lead to jitteriness or a noticeable drop in energy later in the morning. That sharp rise in alertness may be followed by a dip, particularly if no other nutrients are consumed. According to the National Institutes of Health, balanced macronutrient intake that includes protein, fats, and carbohydrates supports steadier blood glucose regulation. When coffee is paired with protein rather than consumed alone, digestion tends to occur at a more controlled pace. Adding collagen powder to coffee does not change how caffeine works at the neurological level. It does not transform caffeine into a slow-release stimulant. What it may do is slightly alter the metabolic context in which caffeine is absorbed. Protein slows gastric emptying, meaning the contents of the stomach move into the small intestine more gradually. This can help reduce abrupt energy spikes and dips for some individuals. Public health authorities such as the NHS emphasize the importance of regular meals for maintaining stable energy levels, particularly in older adults. Skipping breakfast and relying solely on caffeine is a common habit, but it can contribute to mid-morning fatigue, irritability, or shakiness. Including protein in the morning, whether from eggs, yogurt, legumes, or collagen supplementation, provides amino acids that support muscle maintenance and metabolic function. However, realism is essential. Collagen alone is not a complete protein source because it lacks certain essential amino acids in significant amounts. That means it works best alongside other protein-rich foods rather than as a substitute. A balanced breakfast creates a stronger foundation than coffee alone. Hydration is another factor often overlooked. Mild dehydration can cause fatigue, headaches, and reduced concentration. Cleveland Clinic guidance frequently suggests starting the day with water before coffee to support circulation and cellular processes. When hydration is adequate, caffeine's effects often feel smoother and more predictable. Sleep quality also influences how the body responds to caffeine. The National Institutes of Health notes that older adults commonly experience changes in sleep patterns, including lighter sleep stages and earlier waking times. If rest is fragmented, reliance on caffeine may increase, potentially creating a cycle of late-day consumption that further disrupts nighttime sleep. Managing caffeine timing by avoiding it late in the afternoon can help protect sleep architecture. Research summarized in PubMed has explored how protein intake in the morning may influence satiety and sustained energy. Some studies suggest that protein-rich breakfasts may reduce later energy crashes compared to carbohydrate-heavy or skipped breakfasts. While individual results vary, stable energy supports physical activity, cognitive engagement, and social interaction. The World Health Organization consistently emphasizes balanced nutrition and physical activity as pillars of healthy aging. Energy stability rarely comes from one ingredient alone. It emerges from the interaction between sleep, hydration, movement, stress management, and consistent eating patterns. Collagen in coffee may be a small adjustment, but within a structured morning routine, that small adjustment can reinforce healthier habits. When the day begins with hydration, balanced nutrition, light movement, and mindful caffeine timing, the body is better positioned to use available nutrients effectively, and as we follow that chain of influence deeper into the body, we arrive at a system many older adults overlook entirely, yet one that quietly affects everything from energy to skin to joint comfort, the gut. And as we follow that chain of influence deeper into the body, we arrive at a system many older adults overlook entirely, yet one that quietly affects everything from energy to skin to joint comfort, the gut. The digestive system is not just a food processing tube, it is a complex filtering and absorption network that determines how efficiently nutrients enter the bloodstream. Think of it like the filter in a coffee machine. When the filter is clean and functioning well, everything flows smoothly. When it's compromised, the entire process suffers. Fatigue, discomfort, and even subtle nutrient deficiencies can follow. Collagen contains amino acids such as glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, which contribute to the structural integrity of connective tissues, including those that support the intestinal wall. According to educational guidance from the Mayo Clinic, adequate protein intake is essential for maintaining tissue structure and repair throughout the body, including the gastrointestinal tract. While collagen is not a treatment for digestive disorders, providing sufficient amino acids supports normal tissue maintenance. However, this is where many people misunderstand the bigger picture. Collagen alone cannot compensate for an imbalanced diet. Fiber intake remains critical for digestive health. High-fiber foods, such as leafy greens, berries, legumes, oats, and whole grains, help nourish the gut microbiota, the community of beneficial bacteria that play a central role in digestion and immune function. Both the National Institutes of Health and Cleveland Clinic emphasize that dietary fiber supports regular bowel movements, microbiota diversity, and stable blood sugar levels. Without adequate fiber, even increased protein intake may not translate into optimal gut function. Nutrients need a supportive environment for proper absorption. A diverse, nutrient-dense diet supplies not only protein, but also vitamins and minerals required for tissue repair, immune health, and energy metabolism. Stress also plays a significant role in digestive efficiency. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, a hormone that can slow digestion and contribute to bloating or discomfort. The Mayo Clinic highlights stress management strategies such as deep breathing, gentle stretching, or meditation as tools that support gastrointestinal function. When stress is managed, the body is more capable of directing amino acids toward tissue repair rather than diverting energy toward stress responses. Meal timing matters too. Eating too quickly, skipping meals, or maintaining irregular eating patterns can impair digestion and nutrient absorption. When digestion is rushed or inconsistent, the supportive effects of protein intake, including collagen, may be reduced. Adopting calm, consistent meal routines allows the digestive system to function more efficiently. The connection between gut health and overall well-being is often underestimated. When the gut lining is well supported, nutrient absorption improves. According to Harvard Health, nutrients absorbed through the digestive tract, including amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, are essential for maintaining connective tissues throughout the body. Adequate protein contributes to collagen synthesis that supports joints, tendons, ligaments, and skin structure. Many older adults report that when digestion feels smoother, other areas improve subtly as well. Skin may appear healthier, joint stiffness may feel less pronounced, energy levels may become more stable. These effects are gradual and interconnected, reflecting how systems within the body communicate with one another. Practical strategies to support gut health alongside collagen supplementation include maintaining hydration, eating fiber-rich foods, managing stress, and engaging in regular movement. The NHS and the World Health Organization recommend daily hydration to facilitate digestion and nutrient transport, along with physical activity to stimulate gut motility and circulation. Even light daily walking can support digestive efficiency.
Collagen supplementation fits into this context as a convenient source of additional amino acids, but it functions best when the gut environment is healthy and supported by balanced nutrition. It is not a standalone solution for digestive issues, skin appearance, or joint comfort. Peer-reviewed research, summarized in PubMed, reinforces that connective tissue health depends on both dietary protein and mechanical stimulation through movement. Institutions like Cleveland Clinic, NIH, Mayo Clinic, and Harvard Health consistently emphasize sustainable lifestyle habits over quick fixes. When collagen is viewed within this broader framework, it becomes part of a system, not the center of it. And before anyone adds it to their daily routine, there is one more critical factor that must be clearly understood. Safety and individual health context. Collagen supplementation is intended as general educational guidance, not personalized medical advice. Older adults with kidney concerns, allergies, or chronic conditions should consult a healthcare professional before introducing any new supplement, including collagen powder. The value of supplementation comes not from a single scoop, but from how it fits into a consistent, balanced lifestyle. Long-term habits are the foundation of meaningful results. Simple actions, like waking up and hydrating first, stirring your coffee slowly, moving your body for a few minutes, and consuming balanced meals, create the environment in which collagen can be most effectively utilized. The National Institutes of Health and Harvard Health highlight that amino acids serve as raw materials for tissue repair, but their impact depends on the body's signals and demand. Without consistent activity, proper nutrition, and adequate recovery, the benefits of supplementation may be limited. One common mistake is chasing the latest supplement trend without integrating it into a broader lifestyle plan. Collagen powder alone will not counteract a sedentary routine, poor sleep, or inconsistent nutrition. Another frequent error is ignoring individual body signals. Older adults respond differently based on their activity level, sleep quality, nutrition, and overall health. Subtle changes in energy, mobility, or digestion can serve as guides for adjusting habits over time. The World Health Organization emphasizes that sustainable, consistent habits produce better outcomes than short-term experimentation. In practice, collagen powder combined with light resistance training, balanced meals, sufficient sleep, stress management, and daily movement can contribute to gradual improvements in wellness. Consistency, rather than immediate results, is the key principle. Research summarized in PubMed and supported by the Cleveland Clinic, and now that we understand how nutrition, supplementation, and daily habits intersect, the next focus becomes the final piece of the puzzle. Integrating these practices into a holistic routine that supports energy, joint comfort, and functional independence over the long term. Collagen, as we've discussed, is a convenient source of amino acids that supports connective tissues, tendons, ligaments, skin, and even gut lining. But its true effectiveness depends on how it fits into a broader lifestyle. Nutrition, physical activity, hydration, sleep, and stress management all work together to determine how well the body repairs and maintains itself. Ignoring any one of these factors can limit the potential benefits of supplementation. Morning routines offer a perfect starting point. A well-planned morning sets the tone for the entire day. Hydrating upon waking, enjoying a nutrient-rich breakfast with protein, adding collagen to coffee, and performing light resistance exercises or stretching can all send the right signals to your muscles and connective tissues. The National Institutes of Health emphasizes that consistent daily routines reinforce tissue repair and protein utilization, especially in older adults who face anabolic resistance. Strength training, balance exercises, and even gentle body weight movements are crucial. Muscles generate force, tendons transmit it, and ligaments stabilize it. When these components work together, functional mobility improves, and independence is maintained. The World Health Organization specifically recommends that adults over 60 perform strength and balance exercises several times per week to reduce fall risk and enhance daily functionality. Collagen supplementation complements these exercises by providing building blocks for connective tissue repair. Balanced nutrition throughout the day further supports this system. Whole foods rich in complete proteins, fiber, vitamins, and minerals optimize nutrient absorption and tissue maintenance. Eggs, fish, poultry, legumes, dairy, and vegetables supply amino acids and micronutrients that collagen alone cannot provide. Harvard Health and the Cleveland Clinic both highlight that a combination of supplementation and whole food nutrition maximizes the body's ability to rebuild and maintain strength, joint health, and metabolic function. Sleep and recovery are equally important. The NIH notes that tissue repair and protein synthesis are heightened during restorative sleep cycles. Older adults often experience lighter sleep stages or earlier wake times, which can affect recovery. Pairing supplementation, nutrition, and activity with quality rest ensures the body can fully leverage available resources. Hydration also plays a subtle but essential role as it supports circulation, nutrient delivery, and optimal metabolic function. Stress management cannot be overlooked. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can impair muscle protein synthesis, digestive efficiency, and energy stability. Mindful practices such as deep breathing, meditation, or gentle movement improve physiological resilience and make amino acids from collagen and dietary protein more likely to be utilized effectively. The goal is a holistic, sustainable system rather than quick fixes. Collagen powder in coffee becomes meaningful when it is part of this structure, a small but consistent contributor to energy, tissue integrity, and overall well-being. The emphasis must remain on long-term consistency. Daily habits compound over weeks and months, producing gradual but meaningful changes in strength, mobility, gut health, skin quality, and recovery times. Viewed this way, collagen is not a miracle ingredient, but a practical tool that works in concert with lifestyle habits. Regular movement, balanced nutrition, sufficient hydration, stress management, and proper sleep create an environment where the body can efficiently use protein and rebuild connective tissue. Collagen simply supplies raw materials that the body can deploy when it senses the need. As we prepare to conclude, it's essential to remember that maintaining independence, energy, and functional wellness after 60 is a multi-layered effort. No single supplement or habit is enough on its own. Collagen in coffee is a small, convenient piece of a much larger puzzle, one that integrates nutrition, movement, hydration, sleep, and stress management into a daily rhythm that supports long-term health and vitality. And that brings us to the final part, where we tie everything together into actionable steps that can transform these concepts into a sustainable daily routine